got two black eyes from loving too hard, and a black car that matches your blackest soul. I wouldn't change it. Oh, wouldn't ever try to make you leave. No. Oh, the neon coaster was your sign, and the Midwest wind, Pisces rising, wouldn't change it. Oh, wouldn't ever try to.
All right, what's going on, everybody? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE. Doing one of our favorite segments today, but first we got to introduce the kids, not mine, which is standing right next to me. We got the Smoke Show Drazcore.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And the E to the W to the O to the K to the underscore to the JR.
Hello, Keyforge community. Great to be here tonight.
That was far too long.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to put the Jay-Z song. E to the double. Yeah, we'll stop it there. Okay, anyways, but we're doing AMA like we said we were going to. Oh, I don't know if we said we were going to do it last week, but we did ask you guys to post your questions in the AMA section because it had become that time where the AMA cuppeth overfloweth, and it's just time to get some of them out of the way. I don't know if we did enough our last AMA. Like, I think we missed quite a number of them. But we got to a lot.
Yeah, we went through a lot. We had 2 episodes, but at that point, Drazcore, you weren't with us.
No, this is Drazcore's first AMA.
We got to bring in. Yeah, we got to bring in.
I was just a listener submitting questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you have to answer them. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I know.
I'm with the wrath of our listeners.
I'm pretty sure my question that actually got read out on last time was if we were at a bar, what drink should I order each of the hosts? I'm pretty sure that's what,
Did we answer?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
You guys did.
Remember.
And I don't remember what you guys said, which would be very helpful. I should go back and review that for.
I mean, I'm a screwdriver kind of guy. I won't turn down good vodka. I also like good beer, though, too. But don't give me an IPA. I'm not like Ewok. Ewok will take the IPA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love those IPAs.
I will take anything that's not made in this country.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. Should we dive in? We got a list of questions from you, and then I got another, secret list.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you guys won't see them coming, because normally I just put them all in the sheet, and...
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought maybe this would
coming
spice
anyway,
it up a little bit. How long has it been since we did an AMA? Has it been about a year?
I'd have to go. Give me a little bit of time, and
I don't even remember. But let's get it started. This one specifically poking at Drazcore. X-Rays wants to know why you didn't pick him.
Wait, why are we calling out X-Ray on this?
Because it's actually somebody actually put it in. I'm assuming you.
I think it was X-Ray. If I go look at the questions.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Why does Drazcore not pick me? That was X-Ray's.
I don't know who put the questions in the Google Doc, but somebody actually left X-Ray's name in there.
X-Ray, you have to earn my love. That's what it is. Yeah.
You can't buy your way into Drazcore's heart.
I mean, bribes work too.
Oh, bribes always work. We love bribes on the show. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right.
Except for Ewok. He doesn't love bribes.
He does not love bribes, no.
He won't even smuggle candy into a movie theater.
Why would you? It is no, that is wrong.
Okay.
I mean, smuggling's not even the right word. It's taking something you own to a place you are going.
No, there are specific refreshments that are at a movie theater that you pay for. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it is literally smuggling it in, Han Solo. The last AMA was on September 3rd, 2021.
Okay, so it's been, about 6 months? That seems about on pace for us. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, it's a little over 6 months. We're on pace. It's okay. All right. What is a gimmick card or a set of cards you wish were better than they are?
Drazcore, you got this, man.
Well, I something popped right in my head. I feel like this has probably been said before. But I'll start with it, and then maybe we can come up with another one. So definitely Igon the Green, Igon the Terrible. Just thematically, those cards are so cool, and the art is so cool, and they're just not good. But the whole concept of I'm going to have a creature that does one thing, and it's decent. Well, in theory, it's decent. It's actually terrible, but it's at level X, and then I'm going to get a new version of it when it dies. That's at level 2X. Like, that concept is really cool, and I hope to see more of that. But X needs to be way higher in terms of power level in order for that to be at all useful. Plus, it just can't be in Worlds Collide Brobnar.
Ewok, what is your favorite? What is a gimmick card you wish was better?
Okay, so you definitely hit on Igon Green. Igon Terrible. That's just bad. I'm going to take a little bit of flack for this, but you really have to have the right deck, and I think that Drawn Down, Dive Deep, and Dark Discovery has potential, but in practicality, it just is not showing up.
And this too many cards.
It's too many cards, and so that is it. I also then threw out a couple other pieces that weren't necessarily the combos, but I kind of put in a negative, kind of that middle squiggly, and then a positive. So I'll also take some flack. Different, very, very different. But Epic Quest is one of those pieces. I thought it's a really, really cool card. It's not. It is not a gimmick, but you just have to have the right deck set up for it. And more often than not, there's very few decks that can pull it off. Ironically, DT has quite a few. In DT, you can actually pull Epic Quest off a lot more because of the archiving and because of the Sanctum creatures that's there. I think DT ships is another kind of meh. The idea for ships is cool. It's not linked, but that was the gimmick. And so as a gimmick, it just really, really falls apart. Now, I will say they have hit some. I put kind of in the middle, Evil Twins. I like the idea of 2 decks and being able to find them in the wild. But man, even with DOK being able to pair, there's too many lost twins that are out there. And frankly, they're just not great. Yeah. It gives you something to chase after.
I actually think the way they did the twins are good. Right now you could argue, hey, I wish a few more of the evil ones were a little better, right? Because definitely weighted towards the good version being better than the evil on average, with notable exceptions. So they could have done a little better there. But I do like that it's hard to find the twin of your deck, right? Like, I think if it was like 50-50, like every deck has an evil twin out there. Is it hard to
find, or you just don't care?
I honestly,
it's hard to find.
It's hard. It's hard to find. I honestly wish that they were in the same box. I'll be 100% honest. I wish that they were in the same box. I don't know.
That would be a logistics nightmare.
Yeah, it would. But it would, to be able to have 2 decks that are in the same box for, here's your evil twin and then your good twin. Just having one, and then you don't know which box it's going to show.
You know where they should have put the evil twin decks?
Sure, where?
The 2-player starter.
There you go.
You got a 2-player starter, 2 decks. You get a regular deck and an evil twin deck.
Nah,
I think it's going to be too high.
Yeah, I think that's too much. But I think had the pandemic and all that not happened, it actually would have been really cool, because you would have been like, oh, I'm going to this vault tour. I have this. Like, who has it? Like, oh, shoot. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to bring the evil twin. Like that. And then you, like, meet somebody and you hang out with them. And, like, that would have been a really cool experience. You become best buddies? Yeah, best keyforge buddies forever.
Go out for beers together or something. Whatever you like. Yeah, maybe you're
candy
not into
kegs and rainbows.
Yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know. I haven't found, like, any of my, like, even the evil twin decks. I'm like, let's go find its good version. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I just haven't cared enough.
I mean, and not everybody will, but like I think there's plenty of people who have done it, and I keep thinking about doing it. I just haven't. But if there was like a interaction at a vault tour sort of thing where it's like, yeah, we're going to meet up and bring these twins together, that'd be really cool.
It would be cool to actually to do like an evil twins only tournament.
Well.
Where you have to have a good and a bad version of each deck.
That would be.
It would be a piece. There you go, piece. It'll be something that could go ahead and be unique, just like a SASCAP. The problem is that it limits who can go ahead and participate.
Well, no. Like, I'm not saying you have to own the decks. I'm saying this would be done on. This is 100% be done online, because I think it's the only way you could probably really do it.
it'd be like a daily type format, right? Back when it was the keyforge daily, and every time you had a different weird stipulation, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun to have like a tournament where it's like double elimination, like you pick your deck, whatever, yada yada, and like maybe you do like make a day out of it. But like it would 100% have to be online, or you'd have to allow proxies, which I guess I really wouldn't have a problem with. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think.
By the way,
I think the evil twins are actually what's wrong with DT. To be honest with you,
really,
I don't know.
There's not that many of them.
Yeah, there aren't that many of them. I put it in the middle. Like, it was an idea. It wasn't a smash hit. It wasn't a complete failure. I think the DT ships were a failure. Where the evil twins,
well,
I think there's something to chase after. I think they're fun. But
well,
I think
it
if
creates
you
a
look
collector aspect, but as far as the set goes, it diluted the set. Because now, like, you have this wealth of cards that you now, depending on the deck, don't have access to, which kind of dilutes the decks. I think.
No, it gives an additional chase element, which
I mean, it does give a collection element to it, absolutely. But I think when you run the numbers, and I wish who does is it? Which Jedi is it? Sky Jedi.
Sky Jedi.
He does all the numbers stuff.
Yeah.
I would beg to say that like just because of how like. Because now, basically, like, once you're like, oh, it's an evil twin or it's not, like, your pool of cards becomes, like, obviously very different if it's one way or the other. You know what I mean? Especially with the houses.
So I'll dig in a little bit further. I thought the shards also fell in a negative. So
let's be honest.
Class DT
all the
ships.
gimmicks are bad.
No. I disagree. And
besides for mutants.
But here's the piece on the plus side. And I extended what I considered gimmick or set of cards. So the gimmick, I thought anomalies and Worlds Collide were great. I thought I thought they were a lot of fun. I thought they were interesting. They were something to search after. I thought that the leaders actually were a lot of fun.
I think the leaders are a gimmick, yeah.
I think that the sins that you see in MM are fun. We don't see a ton of them showing up. I think that for AOA, the ZYX combo, so ZYX Researcher, Director of ZYX, and Project ZYX are actually very, very, very good and playable. I think that Ortanu the Chained is fun. I think that Time Traveler with help from, though there were some that I definitely had in
are you considering Time Traveler a gimmick, though?
It is a
little bit.
It's a set of cards. Yeah, so I put it under a set of cards. So set of cards was
because like when I read the question, when I thought of gimmick, I thought like the shards, like every house is getting one, right?
Yeah.
So and those were complete. Like they sounded really cool, and like I would have loved the idea of like, oh, I could collect all the Dragon Balls and you win, or whatever, right? But like that didn't happen, and the shards just fell flat. And then like the boats, I was like, oh, okay, well it's cool, but like, is it going to be like the shards? And the answer was, yeah, pretty much. They didn't pull off. Like it wasn't fun to get a shards deck. You're like, oh, I got one or two dead cards. Same with not all the boats, but many of the boats. You're kind of like, got a couple dead cards in this deck. So I mean that's what I was considering like the gimmick. Like the leaders, I'll agree. The leaders were actually a gimmick that paid off. Yeah, because I don't think there are bad leaders. The Brobnar leaders, terrible. Eldest Bear has its moments.
Yeah, I'll take them. Not amazing, but take them.
Shadow Council again has its moments. But like I don't know. Like it felt like they didn't put all the leaders on the same playing level. Because, like, Zinzi's just a monster. Lord Invidious, gone unchecked, is a monster. I'm trying to think of who else was, like, super duper good.
Val Jericho.
I want to say Saurus. It's not. Is it Saurus Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah, Saurus Rex.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. But then, like, Brobnar's he's terrible.
Yeah.
Like Eldest Bear. And I hope they come out with new versions. God, what was the leader for Sanctum?
Oh, the
Gizzleheart. Yeah. Number one didn't see a snake coming.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Out of left field. But like he just doesn't really. He's okay. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Gizzleheart deck, gonna play this. I hope they redo the hero or the leaders again, and we see like new versions. Or like maybe a leader's been knocked off. I don't know. Like, they're writing lore for all this, so like, oh, maybe Eldest Bear has stepped down as the leader, and now it's Niflkong. I don't know, something like.
Well, I know the Nordic Keyforge podcast, when they were doing their lore bits, were talking about how they think that because Sarius Rex did not return and the other leaders did, and there's the whole Roman theme that he's been killed, and maybe there'll be a different leader in the future. And so
I kind of dig that.
That'd be pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be cool. Like, I think one of the fun things about Magic is the cards relate to the lore.
Mm-hmm.
I've always kind of found that interesting. Like, there's a story behind what's going on and each new plane and all that. And I'd like Keyforge to follow that. I don't know if they can, but I think it'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's move on. What is the best card and why is it Quixelstone?
I mean, I don't think Quixelstone's the best card, but Quixelstone is very good, right? Like, there are moments where Quixelstone's amazing, right? It's like when you're just opening random decks, right? And you get a Quixelstone in a deck, you're like, I hope it's going to work in this deck. And you're reading, you're like, 23 creatures, never mind. Right?
Not going to work.
So what you started with is counting your creatures, and it was already eliminated. Got it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
By the way, if you have a good Quixelstone deck, please send it to me. I still have yet to get a good Quixelstone deck.
And if you have any good Heart of the Forest decks, send them to me. Because I'm that guy. So Drat, what, in your opinion, like, I guess, what do you think is the best card in Keyforge? Because this is going to be a tough one.
Right, we talked about doing a top 10, right?
This
like, should we...
This isn't even close. There is one card. Come on, guys.
The Lateral Shift.
Lateral Shift is there. Okay.
I thought you were going with it.
No. But 100% Control the Weak. You're gaining an Amber. You can use it for Amber control. You can use it for disruption just to take your opponent off. It has so many versatile uses. Control the Weak is ridiculous.
Yes, it is the best. I still believe to this day it is the best card in all of Keyforge.
Yeah, but I could use your Control the Weak
with Mimicry.
Shift.
You sure can with Mimicry, but why
with Lateral Shift?
That is okay.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Mimicry, and you see Mimicry against great decks has amazing response because as long as there's an action that's there, you're going to go ahead and be able to use it. However, if you're playing a very heavy creature deck like we were for ABR this week, you got a chance to be able to see very few options for Mimicry to be used. If they haven't played an action, that's another piece. Lateral Shift, yes, you can go ahead and see Lateral Shift. You get to just select the best card from your opponent and then be able to play it. It depends on what deck you're playing against and kind of what's there. Lateral Shift, because it's an anomaly, there just aren't a ton of decks that go ahead and have it.
There's not. And both Mimicry and Lateral Shift are better in Archon than they are in Sealed, right? Yes. I mean, I think not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, Lady Red in our AC Sealed, she got a Lateral Shift deck. And I remember we played, it's like I had like a big, like 62 a million creature whatever deck, and she like looks at my hand, she's like, "These are all terrible cards." I'm like, "Yeah, well, enjoy."
Feel some of that pain. Get some.
Yeah. This is gonna be my anchor the whole night. So but in Archon. It's so good. So
like, there's not a place where you open a deck and you're like, oh, Control the Weak. Oh, it's dead in this deck.
No.
It's never dead.
Lateral Shift's not dead either. But
no. I mean, you get the Ember for Control the Weak.
Mm-hmm.
You get, it's so multi-use. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a ridiculous card. And somehow they still chose to errata bait and switch. Just putting that out there.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Moving on.
To be honest, WOOKIE, if they errated Control the Weak, you'd be complaining about that too.
I don't play a lot of Control the Weak decks, so not really. Of course, I guess, well, at least right now, I don't see a ton of them. I mean, maybe you guys see more because you're playing more in the leagues than I am.
No, I mean, because Coda's not Coda's not king, right? Like they're still around, right?
Mark a disc then.
Yeah, I mean we see some of that,
that's
right?
your next best alternative.
But I think that Mark of Dis, like there's ways to play around Mark of Dis. There's very little that you can do for Control of the Weak. And especially like having played against Control of the Weak with Screaming Cave, that they magically just keep reappearing. There's nothing that you can do because there you go. Don't play that.
Yeah.
Okay. You're playing the one house. All right. I'm locked out. Awesome. I can play one card. I can play two. Mark of Dis I like because I have options, and I think that they made the right move in order to push towards Mark of Dis. So I think that's a good evolution.
All right. What is an aspect of Keyforge that you think is underrated or doesn't get talked about enough? Stumpers here.
This is where I probably should have reviewed the question in advance. An aspect that I think is underrated. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I love sealed, but a lot of people like sealed, so I don't think that's underrated.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any part of. I mean, as long as you're in the community, like if you're in the community, you're in the know. We have a very good community, right? Like I mean, I've never really had any cards like go bad on me, like quality wise. So it's quality cardboard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Ewok, anything?
So the piece that immediately jumps out is we give a lot of flack to FFG for card design. But yes.
Oh.
Yes, there is a number of pieces that do well. I believe that FFG, with their approach, they're looking at having the game be fun, and they have to balance this aspect of it's a pretzels and chips, it's a beer and pretzels game, and it is a competitive game.
Can you have both though? I wrestle with this question whenever you talk about it.
Well, but
because can you have the non-competitive beer and pretzels game along with a like a tournament scene, a very competitive scene? Is that a possibility? Like, can you have your cake and eat it too in this scenario?
The answer is yes, and it comes down to card design and where the cards are placed in common, uncommons, rare, and your specialty. I believe that overall, especially early sets, the designers did a phenomenal job at making sure that you weren't looking for a rare card, so it wasn't a pay-for-play piece. It was more of a lot of your better cards came in your common slots. I think that they've moved away from that, but they've really done a nice job at balancing most of the new mechanics out. And that's why we see so much fun being had in sealed. So the area that I honestly think that's underrated when you look at other games can't go ahead and say, hey, I can open up a deck and I can play it. They have worked on that algorithm, and they've done a nice job to make it so that you can play sealed, you can play Archon, you can play beer and pretzels, you can go ahead and play competitive. And that's a really, really big task to go ahead and say. So I don't feel that the game developers get enough credit for offering us many, many, many multitude of hours of enjoyment.
What elements of the game design do you feel could use the most work improvement? Is this where I get on my soapbox?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, there's no way around it. Every time you release a set, right, there is going to be a house that's bad, right? Or I shouldn't say a house that's bad, a house that comes in last. Mm-hmm. However, many times there's houses that, that number one, there needs to be more mix up between the houses, right? I feel like Untamed falls within the top half most of the time. Logos is always in the top half. They've done a really good job with Shadows because Shadows was like king, and then Worlds Collide came out and everyone's like, and then, Mass Mutation came out and they were back in that top half. There's still probably in DT, probably towards that middle of the road top half type deal. But then, like, Brobnar have, in Coda, they were okay. if you got the right mix. They got some fun pieces in AOA. And then they just took a nosedive in Worlds Collide, and then were never seen again, basically. So, like, they need to do a better job of mixing that up. And I don't think that's, like, any one... well, it is probably one person's fault, but that person's no longer with the company. So it doesn't really matter anymore, right? But, like, I feel like there's always houses that seem like Worlds Collide Saurian, really, really good. Mass Mutation Saurian, middle of the pack. DT Saurian, meh. I mean, they're okay, right? Or am I wrong?
I think
DT Saurian is mediocre for sure.
Right.
I mean, occasionally you can get good lineups, right? I mean, it does have Faust, it has Bury the Riches. You know, it's got
City
some
State
stuff,
Injury,
right?
Yeah.
City State,
So,
right?
but, like,
it does have some good cards, but yeah,
I think they just need to do a better job of, like, making sure that, like, each house gets its time to shine, right?
Yeah.
Sanctum was horrible in AOA, horrible in Coda. I mean, they weren't horrible, but they weren't great in either set. They were probably bottom 3. And then they took a break off for Worlds Collide, came back in Mass Mutation. They had some pieces, so they were all right, you know, and actually borderline
I like them a lot for
good.
sealed.
Yeah, they're good and sealed. And then, like, how's DT Sanctum? Like, I haven't seen much of it, so I'm guessing it's very mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like a lot of DT where it's very hit and miss, right, in terms of strength. But, like, there's definitely some good stuff, right? And there's some fun combos. We talked about Epic Quest before. Like, Epic Quest is much more likely to be live. There's things like Larry Urian combo. There's a decent amount of burst, right? They place Virtuous Works with the new version of it, which is what's it called? The
Strange Ordination.
Yep.
There you go. And so, I mean, that's like, yeah, you gotta. There's the whole tide thing, right? So that's like a limiting factor, but 3 pips on a card's always good, right? And so I think there's a decent amount of good stuff there and decent ways to burst, actually.
Yeah.
And
my point being is there needs to be a better mix, right?
Yeah.
And again, you got to remember that there was one person who made a majority of these sets already. So, they were probably already off to the printers before anything else. So, like, there needs to be a better mix. I do feel like there needs to be a more... I would love, like, a more... I don't even know how to explain this, but, like, foils are definitely a thing I would like to see them implement. I don't know how they'd implement... Why?
No foils.
You don't want
no.
foils? I want foils.
No. But before we get onto foil talk, I'm going to go ahead and say I agree with the oversight. You can see that individual houses were designed by specific individuals, and then they were meshed back together at the end. I think that the overall look of Keyforge for a set needs to be looked at a little bit more thoroughly before they go to the printer at that point. And that is where specifically Logos, Brad's hand was all over Logos and Saurian. And you saw Logos
and
again
Star
and
Alliance.
again and again and again and again. Logos has been on the top. And the problem is that Logos can literally do everything. It has its amber control. It has the speed and efficiency that you're looking at archiving. There were too many aspects, in my opinion, that were given to that one house. I think the combination of having 3 houses, we have to be able to limit what the house can do. And so there has to be positives and there has to be some negatives.
Right.
And I don't see enough of the negatives from Logos. It just was really, it was really built up again and again.
Right.
For me, the other piece that was there, and this is Z's big topic, the common, uncommon, rare slots. It was done very well early on with Coda. And we have seen, as later sets have come out, it has twisted. We want game... I wouldn't say breaking, but game altering effects. more in those common slots. I want everyone to be able to see it and have access to it, and I want it to be able to impact the game. I don't want to see it into rare. And we've seen MM and DT, frankly, a lot of those mechanics have moved into the rare slot. So I think
I'd have to look at that. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'd have to look at it. You might be 100% correct, but I don't know if we've seen like the real game defining or the big slam dunk cards go into the rare slot. I mean, again, would have to look at it. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree with you that like we do need like stop printing your dexters especially in a game where you can't like change your deck. Like I understand there needs to be bad cards. Like that's just basic game philosophy. But like stop just printing total and utter duds, because then when you get a
Dexter,
you're not going to know what's a dud and what's not. That's the problem unless you have a little bit more.
Isn't that what the playtesters are for?
No, playtesters they ask the question of, did you have fun?
That's it.
Yeah, that's what it's always been. That's why when you say this is a beer and pretzels game, that's their feedback that they give. Did you have fun with it? Great.
Interesting.
So all right. So for my answer for this question, I would like to see them. I don't know if it's necessarily like work on or improve or whatever, but in this realm of just give me better fight abilities so that
you're being
have
rewarded.
More of a reason to think about fighting more often, right? There's occasions where you see that, right? You got things like I don't know, snag, right, which is a right creature control of the week kind of sort of, right? Like that's a really powerful fight ability where I'm going to try to make that work, right? Like give me a bunch more interesting fight abilities so that I actually have to think about either would I not reap or would I want to have more of these fight ability creatures in my deck? I think that would be interesting to see what would happen if they did more there.
I think if they make the fight abilities a little more like devastating, like there would be a reason to fight. And there, I think you're I never thought about that before, but you're like almost spot on. Like number one, like if you're going to give a creature a fight ability, it has to be able to survive, a turn. Because like we've all talked about, the chance of me coming back to that house next turn is pretty much unlikely. So my opponent knows he has, a turn, maybe two to deal with it. So maybe it's not an automatic removal. But like if I'm going to fight and I'm going to successfully complete a fight, because remember my creature has to live for the fight effect to go off. So if I have a 2-power creature and he basically fights anything, that fight effect becomes nullified. But regardless, like if you're going to give me a fight effect, it needs to be pretty groundbreaking. Like fight, lose 3 Ember, or your opponent loses 3 Ember. I would definitely be fighting with that creature more often.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty strong, right?
Right.
But
that's
like,
super. Maybe not that strong. Like, don't get me crazy. Like, that was just an example.
Yeah.
Right. But
or more before fight actually would be cool. Like, I really like. I really enjoy Baldric the Bold. Right. I think that he's a lot of fun. It's not amazing, right? But if you got a great rider, if you got smite, suddenly it can get real good. But maybe more before fight too, just to. I don't know, just to mix it up, give me more interesting decisions in that space.
I, again, still would like to see foils. I think they missed, I don't know if I ever said this before, I think they missed a huge opportunity to introduce them with anomalies. I think if you would have taken the anomalies and foiled them, they're already cool. I think they would have been way cooler if, like, could you imagine that, like, those lightning bolts and foil? It'd be sick. So cool. But I think that they missed, I want to see more of that, to be honest with you. I'd love to see more anomalies.
Yeah.
Like one-off cards that you don't know, like you don't know if you're ever going to see again.
Hey, who knows? I mean, they had so much time with the set. Who knows? Like, maybe they'll throw them in there.
I think anomalies were a lot of fun. It was a huge chase factor in Worlds Collide. I know for a lot of people.
I actually, from time to time, we'll have, one or two friends who play pretty casually, and we'll have them over. We'll just open some sealed decks. So open 2 sealed Worlds Collide decks. Just grab 2 from the box. Each of us opened a Nyack the Forgotten deck,
Nice.
which was
He's
pretty wild.
He's horrible, but nice.
I mean, yeah, he's all right. Like, I didn't have him before, so now I got 2 of them, so that was
Like,
fun.
because like the big thing, like everyone's like, don't forge the red key. It's like, why? He doesn't have a Grim Reaper, or not Grim Reaper, Red Baron.
Red Baron. Yeah.
You know, like they were pretty rare. Like anomalies weren't just floating around out there. Like they were pretty rare.
They were. Yep.
So FFG has hypothetically introduced a new mechanic, house, or some element other element that instantly makes you want to stop playing Keyforge. What is the new Well, it says what is this new heresy?
Yeah.
So
Deck
what is
building.
something that would make you deck building? Really?
Yep.
Like, even if they said nothing's going to change, but we're going to have a format, a tournament where if you want to build your own deck, you can. You'd be like, nope,
no, that's fine. No. People can
Yeah,
play.
if
That's not gonna stop me, right? But I probably won't play that format,
Sure.
right? I've never played Cube, you know. And people have asked me to before. I'm like,
I get why, it's popular for a lot of people to be like, because I don't like deck building. And that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But I think given there should be an option, at least, or a set of rules for the people who are like, I'd like to dabble, to see what kind of, like, absolute decrepit, monsters we could be. What you got, Ewok?
I think I honestly don't have anything that's popping to mind. I agree with Drazgor in the idea. I don't want to go ahead and see deck building, but if it's put in as a format, fine, go ahead. You can do any format. I don't care. I just won't choose to play it.
Sure.
That's not something for me. That's not what I got into Keyforge for. If I'm looking at a new mechanic, if all of a sudden there is a completely different win con of you just forge the blue key and you win, like I'm not a big fan of that, of just completely and like
you're talking about like
rearranging.
auto winning.
Well, okay, so Winds of Exchange, we're looking at trade and barter system.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I will go ahead and at any point I can turn in an archive of 12 cards, and you can go ahead and win the game automatically. I don't see how that goes ahead and helps us to be able to move on.
Do you think they do something like that though?
Well, but they said, what hypothetically introduce
sure.
new mechanic or house.
Fair enough, yeah.
Honestly, I think that Keyforge as a whole has many different areas that it can expand in. But if you're going to go ahead, I have a lot of people who will complain about Martian Generosity Key Abduction. I think that Martian Generosity Key Abduction is perfectly fine, especially in the competitive format. You know how to be able to play around it. It makes you think differently. I even think that Heart of the Forest has options, but Heart of the Forest is really crossing over on that line where if you limit what the other person can do, it's just not fun anymore. And Keyforge has always been a game about having fun, playing cards, moving on, being with friends. The community is amazing. So I guess more mechanics that are more Heart of the Forest related, that's where I have an issue. And I do like Heart of the Forest. I just don't want to see any more of it.
See, and that's what I want to see more of.
Why? I mean, if the game comes to a complete standstill, that's not a game anymore. Instead, you can go ahead and use things like Ceaseforge that just came out, where it delays it 2 turns, and then you get, as the active player, get to be the first to be able to forge.
Much better design.
Much better design. That is 100% right. But it doesn't stop someone where I got 148 amber and I can't go ahead and win the game. Like in a race game, no. I'm
not saying I want more of exactly Heart of the Forest.
Yeah.
I want more
I think
of
it was
that,
a mistake.
that control piece.
I don't mind control,
where
but
I'm
that's not a
playing the
control.
Well, it is.
No,
I think it 100% is.
What control does the opponent have when Heart is down and you don't have artifact control?
None.
You have the ability. Actually, I think you have more control now with DT and Exalted Amber that you can go ahead and actually force them to go ahead and forge a key. So there are options that are still there because a lot of people look at it and go, I'm done. No, there are outs and you can play some very different lines. But the problem is if you don't have artifact control, if you don't have ways to exalt to provide Amber to your opponents, you're very well restricted. Heart of the Forest also has issues that not all of the decks, because it's algorithmically generated, not all of those decks have a win con. And that becomes really depressing to play against because sealed is an option just like Archon.
Right.
So that's the only real hypothetical piece that is going to kind of drive me bananas. But
speaking of sealed, is Keyforge at its best in sealed play?
Yes,
I would agree.
It gives everyone equal access to feel like they have a chance to be able to win. And I think that people who have played sealed more often, who have experience playing Keyforge, have a higher chance to be able to win with the deck. If you give the same deck to two different people, which isn't really the option that we see, you will see someone who can pilot it better take it further. However, anybody can open a super spicy deck and anyone can go ahead and have that deck fit their style. It also gives you a chance to open something that's new and unique that won't ever be seen.
I think, again, I agree. Sealed levels the playing field. I can't bring, what's X-Ray's deck called? Dominic?
Donovan?
Whatever it is. And just be like, I level the playing field. Thanks for bringing that to Chainbound, by the way.
He lost when he brought it.
Oh, that's right.
One game he lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost a game when he.
Hey, I mean, but you give up. Yeah, I mean, it gives everybody the chance. I think it brings more player skill into the fold than like just straight up Archon does. Mm-hmm. So I think it's best that it's sealed.
Yeah, I said yes immediately, and that's because I love.
You're not biased at all, right?
I'm recognizing that I'm very biased there. I enjoy Archon quite a bit too, right? And I think if you're not as into sealed and you're just into Archon, then for you, it's not at your best there, right? It's a very personal question. Yeah.
All right, Drazcor, we love how positive you are. How do you stay so happy, and why is it crystal meth? No, I'm just messing.
Well, all right. So I do sometimes have a joking answer when I, occasionally get people that, asking me questions like this, and I half jokingly say to people, well, every morning I have to wake up, and that is the most painful experience in the day. Therefore, my day just gets better from there. So it's all downhill. Because I'm not a morning person. I really don't like waking up.
Oh, see, this is when we need to record. We need to record it in the morning.
Oh, gosh,
that way you can hear Drazcor slogging them through.
No, gosh.
At Keyforge Live, you were just fine in the morning, sir.
But I had to focus. I had to put energy on to make sure, in general, I'm not a fan of mornings.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I know that we're missing Sir Grumpy, but
he's not
Sheep.
that grumpy.
Oh no! If you actually know Sheep in person, he is extremely generous and he is not grumpy. He's actually fairly happy, which is interesting to see his demeanor here. But I don't see the reason to be negative and sad and depressed and really frustrated. There are things that happen to all of us where at an individual moment you can be down. But we got to look at the positive and what is here. Even with a game that's on hiatus, we have a great online community. Is that glass half full, half empty? That's really the approach you got to go through.
It's like 3/4.
You can be beaten.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, but we're all gonna every day, whether that's work, whether it's your life, what you make of the environment that you're in that has an impact on those around you. Why not be positive? Why not be happy? A simple piece of smiling. Try it.
Yeah, there's truth to that, right? There's in my real life, I'm an IT land, right? And I like to joke that I was too good at coding, so they took my keyboard away and made me a manager. That's my joke. So,
okay.
But there's this whole thing called the heliocentric effect, which is basically if you are positive and you are, but genuinely so, not fake. There's people who are fake positive, right? Genuinely positive and genuinely hey, I think we could do this. Hey, I think we can go the right direction. I think we can make this thing happen, right? Like, and you do it in a genuine way, like others feel that, and like you can make good things happen, right? And so I do sort of like believe that, you know, if you always had to force yourself every second to be positive, then you're not truly positive. But like giving yourself a little jump start, like, hey, I'm going to be positive about this thing, and it can snowball, it can steamroll. Like, yeah, like let's have a good time, right? Like just coming and like smiling at someone, right? And like you know, this is probably going to be a good conversation, right? And most of the time it is, and you know, unless you're talking to Wookiee, and then you know, then you know what happens.
Listen, I'm just the realist of the group. I feel like that Vietnam War vet where I've seen this before, man. You know, like, and I have. That's the thing. Like, you know, you and I just talked about like the FAB Fab 2.0 and all that jazz, and it's like I've seen this before, and I can name the game I saw it in because I was playing the game at the time, and like how it just drastically just murdered that game. And, you know, like, it's like, I have seen this before, and I've never seen anything quite like what we're seeing with Keyforge, with, like, the hiatus and all that, but, like, we live in a time that, like, I don't think any of us have ever seen anything like this.
Sure.
So it's very interesting to, like, and I think it's fascinating to watch, like, this whole thing, and maybe I have to go with X-Ray to see if he wants to do a fun little episode about Fab 2.0, because, like, it is... If you're not paying attention, pay attention, because it actually is quite interesting to watch right now. But no, I'm a realist. You know what I mean? Like I often in life I found it's better to plan for the worst and hope for the best than vice versa. So that's what I do. You know, that's how I'm wired together. So.
I don't mind.
I agree with that in some ways, right? Like, but I think and it's just a different. Like, honestly, like you hear me on here joking and laughing and stuff. Like you should be yourself. Like, don't force yourself to be something you're not, right? Because
I have never not been myself, right? And people kick me in this, kick me for it, for being on this show.
But
I've literally been kicked by people. Oh, we have a sheep.
There's a sheep.
I've been here all along. Silent.
Yay, Shane.
That's a lie. He hasn't been here all along.
Not been here.
He's been here for all like 5 minutes.
Is that what that heavy breathing was in the background?
he wanted to come in and say why he's always positive and happy.
Because I get to play Keyforge with awesome people.
Yay!
I think the piece comes down to being... If I have a negative attitude about it, does it change whatever problem I'm encountering or enduring at that point? If I can be positive, it at least has a chance to be able to get better, to be able to have support. You can bring others in. When there are truly sad and depressing moments in life, and at those moments, that's when we need to be able to confide, and we need places like Keyforge where you have a community. But overall, on the day-to-day piece, I want to try and be positive. I want to try and be happy because I can't change the negative pieces that are in our world, whether that's war, whether that's famine, whether that's larger issues than what we're dealing with for Keyforge. So
I'm getting heavy here.
That's why I choose to be positive and happy.
Let's move on to if we could make a set theme, what would it be and why would it be WrestleMania?
No.
Wait, what?
No.
I love this question. Don't take it off. You leave that on the sheet, sir. Don't you dare take that off. That is a fabulous question and one that deserves to be answered.
Can we go back to what is the heresy and why I would leave?
Would you leave? If they made a WrestleMania themed set, you'd just be like, nah, I'm out.
Why? Why? How would that fit with our theme of Keyforge?
Maybe not WrestleMania, but like having like a wrestling match or something like that, or like it's on a stage or something. I don't know.
So yes, it would just be arena fighting of some sort.
Right. It doesn't have
Brobnar suplexing.
Wait, what's the story of Flash and Pan?
What do you mean?
No, we are not talking about this again.
No, but if you could make a set theme, like what would it be? What would your next set? I mean, I still would like. I would like to see kind of. Okay, so here's an idea I had. Okay, don't laugh.
Archives Gone Wild.
That's not Archives Gone Wild. Don't laugh at me, okay? Don't laugh. Please don't laugh, because I thought it was the dumbest idea I had ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
I'm not even kidding you. I'm like, that is a horrible idea. It will never see the light of day. And I hope it doesn't. I would love a house theme that is kind of loosely based on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, like a Voltron type situation? Like,
not a Voltron, but like...
What's their Voltron thing? Where they
but like, there's only 5 of them, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and we get different versions of like these same 5 characters.
Like Season 7 Green Ranger.
Something like
Season
that.
5 Green Ranger.
It doesn't have to be Power Rangers. It could just be like superheroes in suits. But like, you know what I mean? Like some form of team. Because like we have like, and I feel like almost like Star Alliance is kind of that, like the hippy dippy do-gooders of the world. But like I want like I don't know. I felt like a Power Rangers like type idea would be kind of cool. That's me.
That could you could make that fit in the world, right? Not Power Rangers explicitly, but like here's the superhero type,
right?
Folks from each of the and then here's the sidekicks, and here's the like you could, I don't know, you could do something.
Yeah,
the villains, right? Like,
well, that could be a whole nother house.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother house.
Yeah,
that's like Sanctum,
twirly mustache,
and Dees, or Des as it's properly called. Anyone else have any?
Now, is that really a set theme, or is
it's
that
not
just
a set theme? That's more of a house theme.
A small set of chase rares.
No. I was saying like that would be like a house theme. Like, I'm not saying it would be like the Power Rangers, but like believe it or not, we have Star Trek in this game. They're called Star Alliance. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's all the
right. So kind of along that
all
same
the space
theme.
Tropes slammed together.
Well, I mean, I just thought Power Rangers. I was watching it on Netflix the other day, and I thought it'd be fun. Nobody else has any like house theme ideas they'd like?
All right, so I glanced.
House themes are different than set themes.
All right,
sure. I mean, but what's a set theme? Like we got pirates. I mean, pirates, mutants. What was Worlds Collide theme?
Let's go on house themes.
Worlds Collide theme was the leaders and like the groups taking on an identity and a place in the thing, and then Mass Mutation is about the mutants, and Dark Tidings is about the water.
Right.
Like, those have themes. I don't really feel like Coda and AOA have strong themes that I'm aware of.
Yeah, Coda was just the first, and then AOA was just the second.
Well, it was technically the same set that they split
Thanks for that, Drascar. Really killing it there.
We'll have a new opening for
new opening for co-host. I mean, so we've
they have been getting the more first theme as the sets have been going on.
Right. Like, the first one didn't need, because it was just like, this Keyforge thing is new, but I do think it was a miss that Age of Ascension didn't really have anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it had cards.
Yeah, I was saying it had a theme. It was called
It also had the best cards and its best set, but
anyways, is that your
theme
question?
Was poopy.
Let's see what one sheep put in there. But yeah, I mean, I guess like Worlds Collide. Okay, leaders. That I guess that was I guess I kind of missed that theme of everybody getting like there's like leaders now, and
it was the first manifestation of this concept that things in this world change and come and go, and like we saw it for the first time there, right? We lost 2 houses and gained 2 houses. Like, that was
cool. I would actually like to see. As we're like continuing to go over our timeline, but that's fine. I would love.
I'm here, so we got to record for another hour.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Maybe we can get through all the questions instead of 10 of them. I would like to see like maybe how like maybe we go to a different dimension of the Crucible, where like none of the houses or maybe there are some of the houses
another side of the planet,
like another side of the planet, and like, oh, that's where Dis has been. Oh no, we found Dis, but now there's like 6 other just brand new houses that nobody knows about.
So
I mean, that would probably be a lot of work, but
No, I don't want to see Keyforge 2.0. I don't want to see...
No, I'm not saying it's 2.0.
I know, but I think that there's different quadrants. You can see that Crucible is ever expanding. I think there's plenty of space for, honestly, any houses to be added. You were talking houses earlier. I think Undead would be very fitting. I think Pirates would be very fitting. I even had like Vikings or like Mayans. I think there's some really interesting groups that we could go ahead and add in for houses that would be unique.
I still want the Undead house.
I will argue that personally, I think theme-wise, there's oftentimes too much that's happening. When we have new houses that are added, we have then themes of here's mutant and no mutant, here's tide and no tide. I don't want to see a ton of new mechanics similar to the tide, where I have the chance for the wind and the tide, and here's the sun the sun that's out, and here, because I played other board games in that manner, but I think that can be a little bit more problematic. I'd prefer to keep it into the cards, and I'd prefer to actually keep the sets, like the groupings. I guess this goes back to the first card. I like the idea of gimmick sets and gimmick cards. Things like Artana the Chain with the change, or Chain Gang with subtle chains. I think that ZYX Researcher, that set of cards, those things I really enjoy. Tide fit here, but I don't want to see that as a consistent way to be able to keep going forward. I think they're jamming too much into each set.
Yeah, so for the Tide, here's what I anticipate. We will see a rule change such that things like the Tide are only in effect if one of the players is playing DT. I think they're gonna get there, because you're gonna add various things in the future, and there's just gonna be too many potential effects. Like they're gonna say, hey, it's only in effect if one of the players is playing that set, because there's gonna be whatever the 37th card is in the future is gonna, after however many sets, is gonna push that. I think that'll happen.
I don't know.
Nope, Legacies kind of break that.
Well, they I
mean, yeah, they can make it where they could just say, "Hey," but that's lame. Lame.
Yeah, I mean, they've already prevented certain cards from being legacies.
That's like the whole set, then.
There's a good amount.
I don't know. I know Ewok shut down my idea of traveling to a different dimension.
But I don't think you have to travel to a different dimension. I think the Crucible's large enough and expanding, even from the literature that's out with
Well, I'm not saying a different dimension. Okay, different part of the Crucible.
Yeah,
where you're like, oh hey, where did this go? And like all of a sudden the next set is like, oh, all the houses are gone except for this, and we have 6 new houses.
That could be interesting.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's like, oh man, here's where Dis and Logos have been, and like there's 4 other houses, or whatever, just mix it up a little bit. I'm not saying travel to a different dimension, but like travel to a different part of the Crucible, and then they could like change the art on the cards to where it's like right now we have kind of this like more of a cartoony style art. Maybe it's like a more saturated type of art, or more realistic style of art, or whatever that case may be. I'm not an art director, and I'm very bad at art. My stick figures are appalling. So I'm just saying, like, you could make like little cool subtle changes to it to just kind of make it have a different feel. And if it's maybe even just for one set, who knows? I don't know. I'm not designing the game.
It's going to be called Out of Focus.
It's going to be called Out of Focus. Is that like Unglued?
Yes, and then they're just going to pass everything through a crappy TikTok filter.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? All right, Sheep. You ready? This question is, I'm pretty sure you submitted it. Why is AOA the best set?
Because it's best set?
That's not a very compelling argument.
What do you mean, why? Because I say so.
Because Sheep says so?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I am a titan of this world, and I get to make decisions.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, hands down, I had crappy, cheap AOA, and we play sealed. Now, plenty of AOA is trash. Like, I'm not, plenty of every set is trash, but I ran out of that AOA and I had to start playing other sets, and I did not enjoy them.
What?
And now I'm happy again playing my crappy French AOA. I don't know what AOA just has the right flow. It has efficiency that I like.
I think it's just so that when you lose,
cards, it's cool, but
that's the big
and
piece
just when
with
I
AOA,
lose, I can be like,
you can be like, crappy
fair.
AOA, and throw your arms in the air.
I mean, that definitely is true too.
I do like the combo pieces from AOA. I do think that there's a nice flow. My only issue is AOA has major amber control issues, and too often you end up with no amber control or very little, 1, 2 card, and it's just not enough.
Yeah, I don't know how they missed that. It seems like that was a huge oversight, because, like, you're not wrong. Like, a lot of the times you're like, 3 amber control, perfect. This will win games. So
it can if you have massive amber burst.
Sure.
I mean, you have to have huge amber burst that's there. It just doesn't happen all the time, and so I don't know.
All of its amber control was in Brobnar. That was a problem. All right, Sheep. Why is Keyforge so much better than Fab?
Because I play it.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what? I've never even give Flesh and Blood the time of day. I've never looked at it. I've never even considered it. But what makes this game better than every other game is no deck building and decks of Keyforge's ability to help you filter through all the trash.
Yep, and back to what we were saying earlier about the commons, uncommons, rares, right? The fact that it is not a constructed game lets you put the commons as awesome and the rares as situational instead of the reverse, right? Because for constructed game, you need it to be the other way around so you can sell packs, right? So yeah, I mean, I played one game of Fab. It seemed like a fine game, but I
don't think Keyforge is better. I think it's different.
Deck building, it's different. Yeah, it's different. It like like the things it wanted you to do were a little different. I had no interest. I played the one game with whatever deck I threw together, and I was like, well, I could probably make this better. But I had no interest in doing so. And that's just because, because that's just the type of it's I even back when I used to play Magic, right? I didn't really love sitting around and messing around with what cards I'm going to put in there. I had a ton of fun playing Magic, but the pregame of doing the building was not fun for me. But now, like, crawling through decks of Keyforge and thinking about like, well, this deck isn't that great, but actually maybe I could make it good. Like if I just did this and then maybe tried to play it this way, like that is a ton of fun. But if like I had to put that deck together with goofiness in it, like I'd be like, well, why put this goofiness for some other goofiness? So it's no longer a puzzle, right? I like the puzzle aspect of this game.
All right, so let's move into the next one, which is going to I think that's going to kind of wrap it up for us, because I have a feeling these next two questions are going to drive us pretty hard. What should FFG change regarding their support of the game if they want to have a successful relaunch? I'm going to let everybody answer because I feel like my fingerprints are all over every other show on what I've said. Not all at once, though. I keep it down over there.
I mean, so I guess they have to do at least what they were doing before in terms of like Vault Tour style events, right? So you have to at least fulfill that sort of existing expectation. They've said digital, so like I think you have to do digital, even though there's some of us that wouldn't necessarily care per se, but like because we have TCO. But
I think the biggest problem with saying like they have to do digital's been around since this game launched.
Right.
But I mean,
They said they were going to do it, so like now they kind of have to, right? And you want it to be good because I do think, even though like I would be happy just with TCO, it is a big potential for a great source of new folks to come into the game. So I'm excited about that aspect of it. And is there other things they have to do?
I think the biggest thing.
I wish they would do better at what they were doing, right? I wish they would do a better job of finding inexpensive ways to continue to promote the game, right? Like they, like in theory, those things should exist, but they're not great at it. But so I think that would help. But I don't know, the have to aspect is a little tricky.
All right, well, I'll hop in here. I think that the immediate piece that has to go is live events. I don't know how else to say. When you see others playing, when you see other conventions that are being held, I know that they've taken a very, very hard stance, but if it is safe, you have to be able to get people playing. It is absolutely detrimental to the game that we do not have live events that are happening routinely and regularly right now all around the world. There are still places that it's not safe. Great, then pause. But we just don't have the support. FFG doesn't have the manpower, the individuals at FFG to be able to pull it off. Number two.
So here's where I get this frustration, right? Because you say FFG doesn't have the manpower. Cool.
They have to be able to pull people in immediately. We're talking months ago. You've had a pandemic, and we've always said that if the game is not ready to go when the pandemic is kind of like when it's safe to be able to come back, other games have shown you that it's safe to come back. Other people are traveling. Other people are returning to work. Other people are doing things. FFG does not seem to have the algorithm ready to go at this point in time.
And that's fine.
It's not fine. It's honestly not fine. It's not fine. And I'll point out that the next piece, and I have it underlined: communication from FFG. Even the recent FFG post that was seen on Twitter, and this was ahead of time about kind of something that was happening on April 20th. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, well, it's not Keyforge related. You have people that are literally shouting out, trying to be able to gather, and we are not getting the communication that is needed. You have a phenomenal product here. You have people who are playing a year with no support.
Two.
I can honestly say that without having large events that are held from the main company. They're held by private individuals, and it needs to happen. There needs to be communication. There needs to be consistent communication. There needs to be some previews of here's the next set that we've worked on. When you see that, hey, I've produced the algorithm and here's the cards, and I've produced this component, we see that Luke has posted that. Mm-hmm. FFG at this point has to be communicating to us, even if it's a nugget of, this is how far out we are. Because right now, this game should be starting to push back in, that we should have, here's events that you're starting to look forward to for the summer. Here's when the next set is realistically coming out. Here's when the next set. FFG has a bad reputation from many individuals from past games where they've just let it fall. And so we're losing people. We have other people coming in. We have a great community, but we're losing people who just have lost faith, and they don't see that FFG is a company of their word. So I think that the two things that have to happen are live events and communication. And I'm going to argue for the live events. You need to start pushing out, even if it's the end of summer. This is what's happening around the world. This is where we're at. That all takes time, which frankly means that they needed to be doing this a number of months back. We know how long it took us to be able to set up for Keyforge Live.
We got ready in 6 weeks?
Yeah, but I will argue for a large company that's just not realistic. Well, so I can give them that, but they need to be looking at, here's for the fall. If that's really what you want, a glimmer of hope right now allows anyone to be able to endure this drought and be able to say this game is coming back, because we hear it, but radio silence is just not going to cut it. There needs to be support for competitive, and that I'm talking is your Vault Tour that was stated, even if that money amount is reduced at this point, put it so that there you can see here's the competitive nature, and that here's our casual events that are happening, whether that's your dailies being able to return for chainbound, sealed, chainbound, regular chainbound, whether we're going with store championships again, place it if it needs to be in the fall. But right now, communicate that so that there are options and there's a glimmer. I need to see what the next set is. Even releasing cards right now, that can be done. If you have it set up like has been told to me, and I believe that, then this should be the time for us to be able to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they should do, because they wised up and they hired somebody else to build the algorithm, right? They should wise up and hire somebody else to do this stuff that they're not good at in terms of communication.
I was going to say in terms of communication, because a group of ragtag zealot players in 6 weeks got together, got a place to go, got enough promotion out to get, what do we have, 100 people?
Something like that. Yep.
Something like that, like 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, we had fucking merchandise. Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was playmats, there was stuff. Like, to say this can't be done is, like, the most insane thing to me. And
they're just not good at it, right? And it's okay to not be good at everything as an organization. You just have to realize what you're good at and not good at, and then get somebody else to do the thing you're not good at that's important for your game.
Well, this is
right?
why
like
they had gotten on with Yeti, and who was before Yeti? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Sheep, do you remember?
Who was before Yeti?
Cascade,
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why you hire people like that.
Yep.
Now, I hate to say it, and I'm just going to kind of say it. Word on the street is both those companies got kind of stiffed by FFG. So they're not in graces with either one of those companies who are running big tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's not going to make some other company want to do it for them. But however, like I said, a group of ragtag people made it happen.
I don't think big tournaments are important to a lot of us, but that's not going to be what pushes this to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be the online play and getting easier access to more people. If you look, I mean, like, people talk, like Flesh and Blood, I don't know how it does seem to do okay, but there's these other games like Digimon, and they have small itty-bitty pockets of groups, and the games go on, and they have tournaments and stuff, and, like, that's one size of game, and then there's the Magic size of game, and everybody thinks this is going to be a Magic size game, and I don't really think that's a reality.
No, I don't think any game will ever get to the point of like Magic size.
It's totally fine, but I mean, like, you're talking about they need to be doing more now, but that's on a real optimistic that there's something coming, right? I don't even know if I have that much optimism about it anymore. It could be that,
Well, isn't it word on the street as playtesters have decks?
Yes.
Like, that's word on the street, right?
Word on this.
I've not heard anything.
Yeah, I've heard word on.
Yeah, I've heard playtesters have decks. I will tell you, Sheep, that I had as the third point digital, and because digital was announced, I think that is extremely important for us. I think that it can be extremely addictive for people to be able to say, "Hey, I'm going to get just a virtual deck that's coming into me, and it's $5. Great, done." Like, you have people who are drumming for items, but there has to be some communication as to what's happening and what the timeline is in a reasonable amount of time, and you're going to have to follow through. And
I think that's the biggest piece. Like you said, communicate. And like, you have people literally like, Keyforge should be dead and gone, but yet somebody on Twitter still is like, is it Keyforge related? And FFG's just like, no, sit down, Timmy. Go sit in the corner. Like, you're on punishment. Like, it's so bad. And like, I know FFG hates putting information out there without like like having ultimate deadlines, but I think at this point, like you got to at least be like, here's our estimate. It is just like, and graphically overstate, it is just an estimate. Like, this is our estimates in August. And even if, we come close to August, say, July, they're like, hey, we know we said August, but here's, the new update. We hit some snags. You can even go into all the mumbo jumbo of the snags if you want to. Not that a lot of people are going to care, but I think that even that little like downlet of communication would go like a tremendous way.
Yep.
So I agree with you, but the easy piece right now, those cards are out for the next set for Winds of Exchange. Release one card a week. That right now we're a week away from May, basically the 1st of May. And so with that idea of it being next week Sunday, you can go ahead and release 4 cards. That gets you through the end of 5 cards, and you're through the end of May. Like, you can then go ahead and let people know it doesn't need to be a specific month or a specific date. This is going to be in quarter 4. This is a Q4 piece that we're going to go ahead and put. All right, now I know that you're realistic. How can we get this up? What needs to happen? There's a lot of logistical items that FFG has to do as a company. When we're talking an event, Amber Shards have been very prolific. If you're looking at having an event, that requires a lot of extra time to bring in company, to be able to see, hey, what are we putting stock at? What do we have available? Right now, cards can come out. They can come to content providers who are there. Frankly, they could just post it on their Twitter account, which they have. They use, that's very simple. And then go ahead and say, we're looking at this for, here's your fall setup. In the past, what was it? Now, 3 years ago? 3 years ago, we had our store championships for the fall.
Sure.
Go ahead and go ahead and say, hey, we're looking at that. Are there any stores that are interested? Putting out so that individuals in the community can start to go ahead and try and grab their stores back. Those are aspects that we as community members can go ahead and stand up and fight for.
I think that's going to be the biggest struggle is getting the store back.
Correct, because it's been too long. You don't have people who are in place.
So many stores who got so burned on this stuff, and are like, Keyforge is dead. Why would I pick up a box of Keyforge? Nobody's gonna buy it. Razor thin margins over there. So it's gonna be a struggle to get stores back.
Yeah, you need the digital. I think you need that. I think
the biggest thing is like FFG, especially if they want Keyforge to succeed. I don't know if they want it to or not. I would assume they did since it's their license, yada yada. Like, you're gonna have to do some butt kissing to the store. Give them some good stuff to make players want to come out. I mean, geez, like and again, I hate to go back to Flesh and Blood, but Flesh and Blood is releasing cold foils of like cards that like don't matter. Right? I mean, they do, but in reality, they don't matter. And people drive for hours for the chance at these. Legitimately are driving for hours for the chance to get these cards. There's got to be something in there. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like.
It should, for the digital version, what they should do is if you want, you can buy a digital deck. If you want to get a print copy of that deck, you could have it sent to one of these Keyforge retailers. Can't have it sent to your house. It's got to go to that store and get people to go to that.
But then you have a problem of like who's a Keyforge retailer and who's not. Is it just anybody that has access to FFG?
Yeah, Asmodee. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, right? Like you could have a way to say, hey, store, we're gonna give you this thing where we're gonna drive people to come to your location, and so that could be enticing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to entice the people to come out, and actually play the game. So there has to be something on the line. I don't know what would bring Keyforge players out into the wild.
Well, I think that the leaderboard was a great idea right before the pandemic started. I think we got to keep going in that direction. I like Drazkor's idea. I think that even utilizing some of the Amber Shards to send, like, we all have Amber Shards, this can be turned in, but it can only be turned in through your through your retailer. And, we want to be able to establish those groups. Even if they come in to get it, there's access. Here's more keyforge.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's simply a coupon to be able to go ahead and reduce the rate of what that deck is.
Right.
Simple 10% off. I don't know, but we have to think creatively. We have to get people back in and just being willing to go ahead and play. Maybe it's you come in here, you're able to go get a deck that's discounted to be able to play.
Or hey,
for your local chain bound.
I mean, other games have these. Why not send them all? Like Magic has welcome decks. Is that a horrible idea? New player, and they have a bunch of decks. Like, oh yeah, here you go. Knock yourself out. Grab a welcome deck.
I mean it's never been super duper official, but people have been giving away decks for Keyforge forever.
I know, but if it was at your store, I mean, because I feel like we've been giving away Keyforge deck, but that requires somebody to be searching for one as well.
I think that you can go ahead and put a simple stamp like we did for Gamma, and all of a sudden that becomes a collector piece where people are more willing to come out. I like the store names that were on it. Those are all require time. Cool. I mean, but those are pieces that you can use to entice players to come out. I do think that some of the different products, whether that's leaderboards, there are items that do bring players out, but we're going to have to build it slowly.
I just, again, my question is what does that look like? You know what I mean? What is that item that would bring people out look like? I mean, it's not going to be keys or mats or anything like that. You know what I mean? I mean, especially for me, I have enough keys. I have enough mats, Do I need more?
I'm going to tell you long before we go ahead and get to playing in person with those events, I need to hear communication from FFG that they're willing to go ahead and actually invest in it. Whether that's here's the schedule that I'm looking at. We're going to actually see live events coming back. We're actually going to go ahead and have the digital. That I need to see cards first and then build up to that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And I think you and again, you don't have a lot. There's not a ton of outlets to do it. I mean, there's a handful of YouTube channels who are still doing Keyforge content, and there's a handful of podcasts that are still doing it. It's not many. So, I mean, I don't. FFG has never been good at utilizing their community, ever, good or bad. Like,
so hire somebody to do it for you.
Yeah, hire someone, but also realize FFG, we are open. Go ahead, send us a message, talk. You want a platform? Come and talk on the show with us. I will put that out there here. Even if you want email correspondence, you want to be able to send a card.
Tell you what, I won't even be there. It'll just be Drazkor, Ewok, and Sheep.
There you go. Yeah, we'll keep Wookie on a leash.
You can pick which of the four of us you want on there. Like,
that's right.
If you're worried that there's going to be a negative personality, like, honestly, that's not the case. We're just trying to be able to provide a spot to be able to go ahead and talk about Keyforge. We love it.
I mean, it's not me being. You can view it as being negative. I view it as being realistic. So it's a very different viewing of it, and I always think I've been more than fair to FFG. But I mean, some people don't feel that way, and that's fine too, right? I mean, but like, we don't get better if we don't get criticized. That's my feeling on it. Like, I would never get better at my profession if I wasn't told what I'm doing wrong. Just my feeling, my 2 cents. And then the second part of that question, are other games doing better in this regards? I think we all just answered it as a resounding yes. Yes, they are.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Do we want to go into maybe one more question and then wrap her up? We can finish next week.
Sure.
One more?
What do you want to end with?
You said you had one more that you thought was a
well, that was the two-parter, but
okay. Yeah.
All right. So we do have a few here. We've got Sheep and Drazkor both been at high placings in Vault Tours. So what does it take to play and win a Vault Tour level event? I wouldn't know.
Luck.
A lot of luck.
That helps.
Well, there goes that high player skill portion. A lot of luck.
guess,
That's what they both said.
So one thing that definitely helped me was just like keeping calm and keeping focused, and don't get flustered when things happen, because things happen, right? Either something doesn't go quite right, or you make a mistake, or something happens in the external environment, right? Like, Ewok just talks your opponent's ear off, and then
or
the game
fire
doesn't start on
alarm
time, or a fire alarm goes off, right? Like don't get flustered. Just say, hey, you know what? That whatever just happened. I just had to put that plug in there for Ewok. Whatever happened, right? And I'm just going to continue to try to do the best from here. And hey, if I make a mistake, it happens. Maybe my opponent will make a mistake. Maybe they won't. And I'm just going to focus on trying to do the best I can, and really think about, and for sealed, right? Really think about what are the things in my deck that I think can get me out of sticky situations, and like when do I need to lean on that? And for Archon, take the full 2 minutes and really think about your opponent's deck and what they're going to try to do to you, and how they're going to try to stop you, and how you're going to try to stop them. That's my advice.
All right, Sheep. Are you sticking with luck?
Primarily, yeah. That's I mean, like,
it's a good
you
one.
have to have a good deck. You have to know what you're doing. Like, it's not an easy game. But it's not, like, you gotta have practice. I mean, like, you have to be knowledgeable, but ultimately luck comes a lot down to it in this game. At least that's how I feel, and but I'm not the best keyforge player, so
I bet you if you talked with anyone who got really far in a Vault Tour or that level of event, there's at least one game where they were like, well, that was lucky. I know at PAX, like, one of the things that happened was I had an Onyx night, and one game was I think it was the top 8 match against one of the TTR guys, and I remember I just happened to draw the Onyx Knight at the moment when I had all of my even powered dudes out, and he had all of his odd powered dudes out, and it was a one-sided board clear at the right second that just, like, when I played it, he looked at the card, he looked at me and went, oh man. Because it was like the perfect moment to draw it. Like, I'm not going to hold that Onyx Knight, right? Like, and there's probably this one game each time that thing has happened. So to somebody who went real far. So now, is the advice get lucky? I mean, maybe, but like, no. Like, I guess there is a luck factor in a card game, and like, hey, you practice, you do well, and you set yourself up for success, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes, like, hey, you'll come back to the next Vault Tour next month.
I have a couple things here that were different from your list. Bridge shuffle your opponent's cards backwards. Talk your opponent's ear off. Socialize and have fun.
We're not here to have fun. We're here to win.
Be lucky at life, not keyforge.
Oh, yeah.
Smile. You're supposed to be having fun here. No, but I mean, you hit on a lot of the key pieces. Be focused, know your deck, don't give up. So look for all of your outs. Oftentimes, when I'm down on the lower end, we are having the most fun playing keyforge, but those are the players who aren't looking at their outs. Don't rush the play, regardless of the speed that your opponent's playing at. Play your game and have fun. Really smile.
I don't have any advice because I don't know what it feels like to be a top level playing top keyforge player. I only made one day 2, and then the second one I didn't. I went 4-2. It's a shame.
We just got to go to more. Hopefully, when they come back,
hopefully when they come back, I am able to get to more. Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely want to play more. Fortunately, work schedule keeps me out of that. But work/sleep schedule. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna play tonight, and then I just pass out. So I mean that happens. But I'm
sometimes
slowly but surely.
Sometimes you even join the Discord and fall asleep. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure I've just come by the Discord like on a random day. I'm like, oh, Wookie's on. And I'll jump on. I'm like, hey, Wookie. And like, there's like background noise and stuff. I'm like,
listen, that happened
just on in his house.
That happened one time. Okay.
This was last week.
Yeah, I know it was. I don't know what happened. One of my kids must have like joined in and then just like left, like not knowing what they're doing, because I don't think either of my kids know how to use it. But like, I just get a text message from Sheep going, "Are you in?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Am I in?" You're in. Do you know you're in? Are you supposed to be there? I have no idea still no idea what you're talking about. But okay, I have now taken myself off.
I used more words than that. You just didn't read them.
No. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm just looking at a Gen Con thing. This they're already getting ready. The Indianapolis Convention Center is already getting ready for Gen Con, which I thought that was until is that still in August this year?
Probably.
Or did they change? I know they changed it at one point in time. I think last year they changed it. Was it pushed back?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was pushed back, and then now this. It's
so last year was pushed. Yeah, last year was pushed back to the fall. But it is because I'm going to be in Yellowstone or Glacier at that time, and so I'm missing Gen Con. So it is the beginning of August that I had.
I don't know. Exact date. Either way, it seems like a long time, but I don't know. Like I know, I'm trying to think of what his name is. Arthur? It's Arthur, right? Arthur Kelly. Is that right? Yeah, I think he'll be at least running something there. I think,
yes.
Even if FFG decides, and again, I don't know why they would just decide to not do anything, but supposedly they're also supposed to be having their big thing, State of the Union.
Yeah, Gen Con. Yeah, Gen Con 2022 is August 4th through August 7th. I can tell you that Arthur will not be there himself, but there will be others who are running Keyforge for him. That I will just leave. But there will be people who will be playing Keyforge, and Arthur's group will be going ahead and running it. But he's
not going to be there this year? That's a shame.
No, he's actually taking on some pretty big pieces for work, and so.
Well, right on. I get taking on pretty big pieces for work. Here I am talking about how busy I am, and I applied for the district manager position. What the hell was I thinking? Yeah, just busy getting busier, right? But either way, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. We'll kind of finish the remainder of these out next week. I didn't even get to the Wheel of Doom. We didn't even spin the wheel. So many questions, right. So little time. So we'll do another part 2. Hopefully we get to the rest of them. There's a lot, and hopefully we get to all of them, and Dan can answer some this time because Dan's here. So let's move into final thoughts. Dan, what are your final thoughts?
I'm losing it sealed right now.
Oh, fair enough. JR?
We have a phenomenal product that is here. I hope that FFG stands by their belief, and hopefully we'll see some communication very, very soon. I'm excited for the next set.
Drazcore?
A bunch of things to sign up for right now, right? So we've got the next Vault Keeper signups. Go ahead and sign up for that. I'm still trying to figure out what decks. By still trying, meaning I'm about to start trying to figure out what decks I'm going to bring.
Right on.
And the next Swindle team event signups are up, so go do that. And have some fun playing
What is the
Keyforge.
format for the next Swindle event? Is it team, right?
It's like a 3-person Morai thing, so it's like you bring 3 decks.
Yeah.
And so does each of your 2 other teammates. And each round, each person on the team, and it rotates who's doing what, but one person is playing Archon, another person's playing Reversal, another person's playing Adaptive, and because you have 3 decks and your opponent has 3 decks, you are selecting the deck that gets used from your opponent's pool each time of the 3, right? So, depending which of those formats you're playing, you're gonna make your choice appropriately, and then you're gonna play out that game. So,
I love the people that run Swindle. Please make easier formats.
I mean, the last one was pretty easy. The cap and just
Karen's
pick one.
good.
Yeah. This
I
one is
mean,
a little trickier. Yeah.
When you talk about that, like when you're like, well, and then you like went into after the second sentence, I'm like, well, I'm out. I don't got all that time to think. Sealed, yes, okay, perfect. I'm in. I will 100% play sealed new deck every week. Like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in, but like once you get into multiple sentences, I'm like, that sounds tricky, and it probably isn't, and I'm just overthinking it, and I'm just like, nah.
I mean, it's definitely tricky. I'm excited to try it out. So,
do you get to pick your own teams, or do I get drafted? Is Dr. Drazray making a comeback?
Yeah. We did lose, by the way. We lost in our top 4 match, so I guess we're 3 or 4 or whatever. Still pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, that's top something.
So yeah, top 4. Yeah.
Who else let the team down? Who else let the team down?
So Sheep actually won his game. So X-Ray and I lost.
So Sheep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anxious Pirate.
Well, this way.
We could have gone 0-3, but I had to ruin it.
I had to go and win a game. Dang it.
Yeah. Anxious Pirate and his team. Pirate had some really stellar
jank
60 cap decks, and all 3 of them were better than any of the ones that we brought. And we're like, well,
we kind of felt like that too when we were looking through our sub 60 decks. Like a lot of stuff we're looking at, I'm like, yeah, this just isn't going to do enough. Mm-hmm. But we also don't have any practice in playing with those decks, right? Yeah. Unless we lucked into one in a sealed and went, hey, for a 60, this is really good. Which it turns out we didn't keep records on that stuff.
Mm. Well, the one that I from my collection did come from. It was like one of the early decks that I got way back in Coda that I thought was good, and then when SAS came out, SAS was like, "It's not." And so I did play that one a little, and then it was 2 of X-Ray's decks that were they were both pretty good, but they just weren't as killer as Pirates. The one that.
His DT deck was,
Oh, yeah.
Incorrectly sassed.
Oh, yeah. It was like, 59 or 60 or something, but it had Tide Warp with, like, Mecha Buoy, and the, he just had, what all did he have? Now I'm trying to remember. It's just,
we'll figure it out next week, because we're still trying to get out of here. I still like the idea of, we pick a deck.
You just have to hit stop, and then we're out of here.
Oh, okay. We're stopping, and now we're out of here. See y'all next week.
Happy fortune, everyone.
See ya.